What was the first language like? Some researchers think it was based on vocalizations, some think it was based on gestures, and some think early humans would have combined the two to make multimodal signals, just like we do today. Each option might have different advantages and disadvantages. To help us think about this, we ran an experiment using a game a bit like charades. In charades, one player, the director, is given a word and has to communicate it to the matcher using only gestures. We changed things slightly so that the director was given a weird sound, and the matcher had to guess which sound they were gesturing by picking from a list. We did this to avoid letting the players use their existing knowledge of language, putting them in a similar position to our ancestors. Some directors were only allowed to use vocalizations, although not existing words. Some directors were only allowed to use gestures, and some were allowed to use both to create multimodal signals. We timed each group to find out how quickly they could guess the meanings. We found that players who could use multimodal signals took less time than either of the other groups. This suggests that early humans would have had an advantage if their language was multimodal, which fits with some recent research showing that many other species use multimodal communication more often than we thought. Of course, we can't be sure that the first language was multimodal. We found that when players communicated about visual objects instead of sounds, the multimodal group were only faster compared to the gestural group. A previous experiment showed that multimodality had no advantage when players communicated about established concepts. Our point is that the kinds of things that early humans needed to communicate about would have shaped their first language, and we can use fun experiments like this to try to help us think about how that might have happened.